You know, I've cooked a lot of stuff at this old wagon, and there's a lot of variables that figure in, especially when you're out here in Mother Nature's kitchen and the wind is blowing. But one of the things that I think can be the trickiest thing to cook in a Dutch oven, and that is a cake. There's so many different ovens out there. What oven do I use? What do I need to cook a cake in? And I think the first thing you need to know is let's start with a deep oven versus this shallow oven. You can see the difference. The reason being, when we pour this cake in there and you put a lid on it, put coals in there, we've still got this much space. We put that same cake in a shallow oven of the same size, proportion bottom, 12-inch. When that thing rises up, we're close to the top of this. We're going to burn that cake a whole lot easier. And there's people that use inserts and liners, parchment paper, aluminum foil. But my mother always taught me the right way many years ago. That's Crisco or a little oil first in this oven. We're going to rub it around there, coat it real good. Then we're going to shake it with flour. Get rid of all that excess. Then we'll be able to get that cake in there. We do this for the reason of we want that cake to come out. So when you go to dumping a cake in here, you'll find out when you try to get it out, if you hadn't got it greased or you haven't got it floured, it ain't coming out. So we'll do that. Get rid of this excess grease. If there is a flour sifter in here. One thing about Mother Nature too, she don't mind a little flour in the kitchen floor. So we've got this thing ready to put a cake in. We always put sour cream in our cake, especially at cooking school, because I don't want to know can you really make a cake. I want to know can you bake it in the outdoors using coals. Sour cream is a moisture, an added variable that goes in there that takes longer for it to cook. But I like a cake that's really moist. So let's get this old yeller cake mix in there. And we'll get ready to put this thing on the fire. When you got a cake, you put it in here, and it's really cold like it is out here today, you're going to have to take that cake. You're going to have to get it down here. We're going to have to pound it on this ground a little. Number one, we're getting the air out of it. Grandma always told me, give them a little shake and a little jiggle. Let's get that air out of that cake. You can see them bubbles popping to the top. Now, we're ready to cook this rascal. Got this old cake in here. Let's get her ready to cook. First of all, I want to show y'all, before we go to setting this thing on the trivet, let's look at the height difference we got here. You know, I use these short trivets a lot, sure, to bake potatoes, casseroles, and stuff like that. But you can see, there's a pretty good breeze out here today. We're going to use a tall trivet. You want to make sure that that thing is about half level before you start. And you can see we've cleared the ground away from here, cleared the grass out. Because if we were to put coals directly on this, not only would it be a hazard to catch something on fire, but we're losing part of our heat because we're having to burn something. So that's why this ground is cleared. We're going to set this cake right on this trivet, get us some coals. We'll go around the outside edge of this trivet, some on top, cook this thing slow as we can. Say it's time to get us some coals. First of all, y'all remember from before, we got holes in this shovel to sift ash. Ash doesn't cook, it insulates. We want good hot coal, good live coal. We're going to shake the ash out of here. And we're going to start out sort of light, just around the outside edge of this trivet. That old wind's going to make a difference in the way this thing cooks today, I promise you. There's a little humidity supposed to. Halfway in this cooking process, we'll take a lid lifter, rotate the lid one way, the oven the other, to catch any hot spots we might have. Through this cooking process, we rotate this lid one way. We're going to rotate the oven the other way. Evens out a hot spot that we might have coals anywhere. Rotate pretty frequently when you're cooking cakes, especially in the wind. Cake off to slow it down. A lot of times in cakes, it's back and forth. You have to sort of cook this thing slow. Bottom and the top, sure we'd like to have them done at the same time. We took this off. We're getting pretty close. Let's see what we got in here. You know, you always use a toothpick in the house, but when you're in Mother Nature's kitchen, there's a lot of sticks around. It's pretty clean. I'd say we're about ready to have cake.